line. Check the radio, pit crew is far from slow. The lights no longer yellow. Ready, steady, go. Crank it up. Oh, it's racing. 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 In love with the ride. Burning rubber smells real nice. Fuel it up once or twice. Come on, fast is the way to drive. Crowds all on their feet. Not one bothered by the heat. Imagine them in the driver's seat. Checkered flag would be sweet. Crank it up. Oh, it's racing. 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 Everybody get ready. On your feet. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. Crank it up. Crank it up. Oh, it's racing. 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 Crank it up. Finger.
Under the beautiful backdrops here in New York, Watkins Glen, this is Watkins Glen International back here on PTM Racing TV, presented in part by our friends over at Spartan Logistics Management LLC, R&R Racewear, Loud Pedal Gaming TV, SimSpeedShop.com, and Track Time Entertainment with 5-star graphics mixed into the fold. It's time for the iRacing iRoC Series to take center stage. Hi everyone, I am the Crusader Tristan Schreiber. Joining you guys here today, here right now, as we're getting set today for the action here at the Watkins Glen in New York, Watkins Glen International field right now, currently in a bit of a fever pitch and a bit of a fight off here, looking to try and get themselves squared away for today's action. And one of them just so happens to be a playoff driver in the name of the number 22, Matt Cobb. Matt, welcome back to the show here, sir.
How's it going?
Going pretty good. Well, right now, you got that big green stripes and stickers up on your car here. No, thinking you're going to be in the playoffs here now. With that in mind, Watkins Glen International is a road course versus one of the oval tracks you guys have been racing on. How much of a strategy did this one kind of change up for you today?
Just usually the same. I'm not good at road at all, so I'll be happy with a finish with a clean car, really, to be honest.
And with this car and all that, it's been new to the circuit, been new to the world here. What does it feel like down there for you? Because it seems like it's really taking some of these corners and turns a little bit more differently than every other car I've seen. I want this next stock car styles.
Yeah, it seems like the brakes aren't. You really got to turn the brake bias down and really get into the brakes for it to slow down. It doesn't like to stop very well, so that's a big adjustment you have to make in these cars.
For sure there. Well, nevertheless, Matt, we do really appreciate it coming on board. Thanks for your time, and we'll see what happens with you in the 22 today.
All right, thank you. Have a good one.
Matt Cobb, ladies and gentlemen, number 22, having a little talk down here right now as he gets ready for the action here. We'll bring it down here and talk with some of the Medford boys here as the MFer of 83, Brandon Medford, now joins me in. And Brandon, right now, currently, going through some of the slippery slopes, the little snakes in turns here. What's the feel right now for you in this next-gen car?
Road coursing ain't my thing, but I'm having a lot of fun out here today, so that's really my only goal, is have fun, finish, and move on to the next race.
Well, finish-wise, I mean, it may be a little more difficult than often because we're seeing with this car here, as we heard from someone just a minute ago, that the brakes on them seem to be having a bit of a troublesome heading around the turns, heading around some of the corners. How bad and difficult do you think it's going to be late in the run here when those tires get a little bit worn and tore up and the brakes start to fade out?
It's going to be pretty difficult. I mean, these cars have big old honking brakes, but they do not slow down very well at all. So late in the race, I think tires are going to play a factor. But, you got 3 guys up there that we're all chasing. So, like I said, we'll just try to keep it in one piece and go finish.
For sure there. But nevertheless, Brandon, really appreciate your time here, sir. Best of luck down there.
Thanks, bud.
Brandon Medford, ladies and gentlemen, take some time to talk with us here as the field gets kind of squared away here at the moment, still getting ready to wrap up and fight off down on the track. Let's take it down now and talk with the number 54 driver here and Cook Quick. Cook, great to have you back on the show here, sir.
Hey, what's up?
Yeah, not much here, my friend. We're just currently ready to get down to business, get down to the action. I think you're ready for it too, aren't you?
We'll see if I'm ready for it after a few laps. This isn't a good track for me.
Why is that exactly for you in this case?
I mean, most of my racing is oval, so I don't do a lot of the road course. It's just a lot of this track here is a lot of throttle control coming off corners is my biggest issue.
And throttle control being basically just not trying to jam into the exits too hard, or is it really mainly just kind of making sure you got like an egg underneath your foot pedal?
No, just not trying to smash the gas down coming out of the corner.
You're sure there. All right. Well, nevertheless, though, Cook, we really appreciate coming on board here, sir. We'll see what happens with you in the 54 today.
Yep, thank you.
Cook Quick, ladies and gentlemen, have some time to chat with us here as we now bring in the number 94 driver, Troy Radford. Radford, last time we watched you out on the track, my friend, you had pretty much put the 94 into a bit of a limelight and a bit of a tough spot there. But now, having to switch from Bristol over the way to the road course side of things, how much of a change has this made for you?
It definitely makes it a lot more challenging. So the road courses don't come real naturally to me. So, just try to get through it, not wreck, not do anything stupid, and gain some points. That's about the goal for tonight.
And points indeed, obviously going in with that playoff scheme there on the green there with the background. I'll ask you this though as you get ready to go. I mean, what is going to be the toughest challenge of this track, and where you think is going to be the corner that gets everyone all in a bit of trouble here?
There's a couple of them. So the S's can get real nasty, and the real problem with the S's is once you get sideways and you wreck, it's going to log jam the entire track right there. So, if we have one right in front of a big group going into S's, it's going to be bad.
For sure there. All right. Well, nevertheless, though, we really appreciate your time here, Radford. Best of luck for you and the crew.
Thank you.
Number 94, ladies and gentlemen, Troy Radford on the call lineup here on the list. It's time now to bring Spartan Logistics Management LLC drivers to the line to the start, and here is how we're going to do it. So, on the pole, we're going to see here that will be the number 3, Brian McCann. He's your number 1 seed here. As outside will be Aaron Smith in the number 1. In row number 2, it's going to be Kevin McCann, the 33. As outside, Brandon Medford, the 83. In row 3, we see Troy Radford, the 94. As outside being the number 2, Neil Quick. Row 4 sees David E. Brown. The 7 is outside Tim Schofield in the number 12. Row 5, Paul Buzel will be in the number 9 is outside. That will be David Trumbley in the 96. Row number 6, Cody Harger in the 66 is outside. Kyle Pengraf in the number 14. In row number 7, we're going to see it piloted up by the field of Mr. Doug Wysocki in the 34 and Jeff Napier in the 40. In row 8, Chris Medford is in the 46 is outside Matt Kopp, the 22. Final starters, Chris Wally in the 5 is outside Cook Quick, the number 54 driver, to round out your field today. Hot start lineup in this one here, and it's time to bring out our track map now. The track map is up on your screen. It is visible to see. This will help you guys determine where the drivers are and where everyone is at in positions, because again, there is so much going on the track. There's so many things happening. We can't cover it all sometimes. So one thing I'm kind of implementing here is I will let you guys in the chat help me decide which car to go look at certain points, certain ends. If you see the number and you see something battling going on I might not be seeing, feel free to comment about it. Let me know, so that way I can get right to it. field right now is currently getting set up and ready to go for the action here. Again, if you see the big green bumpers on the front and the back of those cars, and the sides as well, that means they are in playoff contention. Quite a few drivers in this lineup and in the showcase here, while the rest of the field currently ready to strive, conquer, and try to hang on with this very tough to tame, very tough to master track, and with a car, Willie, that is varied in so many other regards. A 50-lap race here will certainly put some of these boys to their limits and put them fully onto the test zone. This first turn coming up will definitely bring out the best or the worst of the drivers. We're about to find out who gets the best end and the best run as we bring them around. Aaron Smith and Brian McCann, the number 1 and number 3, will be the cars to beat, in my opinion, all day long. We know how good McCann can be on the road courses. We know how tough Smith is to tame. Both of these guys are going to be bringing their A game to the line. Here they come down the front straightaway now, and it's time to bring the drivers, the stars in the cars, get their next-gen cup cars to light, bring the track on down. 50 laps of the distance. It's go time here at Watkins Glen. Already one going into the infield there. Jeff Napier in the 40. Trouble's already. He'll get to slow down quite a bit to get that thing squared up. Aaron Smith taking the early lead though. Entering through the bus stop here, then down into the carousel turn here. They come through. Brian McCann already edging up on the number 1's bumper here, going through the carousel turn. Smith has a good little run off here, getting some good speed. Now has to watch this exit corner off. Good run there. Now you may also notice there's a few out of bounds zones down there. If these drivers get a little too far out of the area that they're supposed to run in, not like right here, if you see how tight they're taking these corners, how tight they're taking these areas, they have got to be careful about going too far off the edge and too far off the ends here. That's one of the things here at Watkins Glen and the road course racing side of things for IROC and the iRacing Series as well, that has changed the game and changed the landscape entirely, in my opinion, and honestly for good reasons. I'm park camera here at Paul Buesel right now. Just see him working up his Spartan Logistics Management LLC number 9 machine, trying to get some speed up there with Tim Schofield as the field continues to wrap their way around. Whoa, whoa, as I say that, I think Buesel might have overshot the S-turn a little bit. You can hear earlier on what these guys were talking about when they said you've got to be careful on your throttle rhythm and be careful about overdriving these turns. That's one of them. That was a big mistake there from Buesel. Now he's going to have to try to work that back in and work some speed up on the corner in the distance. Remember, these are stages, too, that they're working off of, so late in the run, it could make things interesting. It could make things a little bit more tricky for some of these guys to keep up with. Brandon Mether going into that area of flame we talked about earlier. Thankfully not in too much trouble. Oh my, and it's Tim Schofield. He literally just went swinging, dashed right by us here like he was on a Cartoon Network show. What the heck happened to the number 12? Let's take a look at the replay. Presented by SimSpeedShop.com. Here's what happened. Got into the grass here. Good save there, keeping it out of the 7, but you can just see he just slides her right on around. Thankfully, did not end up in the sand pit or the sandbox, as some would like to recall. That doesn't mean his speed didn't get kind of worked up from that. Lost around the ground, a lot of footing there on the build. Now he's going to have to try to see if he can build speed back up around the track as the 94 Troy Bradford hunts down Brandon Medford. Each corner, each turn can make the difference or make or break somebody's race. I can tell you that much from experience alone. I've actually broadcasted while racing on this track before. And I even said point blank, this is some of the toughest racing you have to endure and you have to go through every time you come on out to race this event, race this show. A lot of it, in my opinion, just has to do with the fact of there's many areas to get a good runoff. There's many areas to really build some good little fight-offs in this zone. which in turn makes for some harder racing, some harder charges from these guys. Some of them playing a little conservatively, though I will say, as Aaron Smith has a pretty good lead on Brian McCann here. Brian definitely not going full pace, full throttle assault mode just yet. Maybe trying to work the tires in a little bit, maybe getting a little bit of air into them. And we talked about it before and just what it means when you need to get the air in those tires and how much that damage and effect can really change your race and change your momentum and your outlook on it. I've always said that there's two things in life that really make racing so difficult, not just in iRacing but in the real world, and that is the tires, the chassis, and the other drivers. And really, when you mix that in with now a track that also likes to kind of take things for granted, likes to take drivers for granted and kind of forget about them for a minute, I think now you have a track that's going to be testing more than their fair share of people and drivers here. Jim Schofield, number 12 right now, keeping up ahead here of the number 14, Kyle Pengraf. Pengraf getting a good little boost of speed through some of these turns, through some of these areas here, just trying to find his openings, trying to find his leg up to get through this field, as we are 1/10 of the way here so far complete. Kevin McCann, Brian McCann, no surprise here. Then the top spots here, looking to hunt down the number 1 of Aaron Smith. And it gets tricky here, my friends. It can get very, very difficult late into the run and hard and longer into the run they go. They've got to be very persistent and very under control about what they bring to the table and what they kind of hit up with, because if they don't, they can find themselves in a very heated scenario and a very tough little spot to get out of. I've shown before just how difficult it is just to even get through some of these turns, through some of these races, and this is certainly no different. Pace starting to straying more around towards the top half of the field here. The guys are starting to just kind of, I wouldn't say kind of cruise around the track, but they're very much trying to stay away from doing anything too crazy out of the gate. A lot of drivers, though, as you heard in the interviews, weren't exactly ready to come out here and battle it out like that. They were more a little bit conservative, if you will, the way they talked. I can't necessarily blame them being more oval style racers. Obviously they don't want to try to change the formula up too much, but at the same time I love the idea of really testing drivers on a whole nother plane, whole nother level. This being one of them here, this makes things more difficult and more strenuous on a driver's point of view, as well as giving the fans something different to see. So that's the one thing I really like about this this kind of race, this kind of scenario. Really makes things more fun, I would say. Just kind of having to learn a new little trade, a little trick down there. As we got learning tricks here right now, Matt Kopp in the number 22 trying to stay up ahead with Doug Wysocki in the 34, as you see him piloted up with Chris Wally right behind Kopp. Wysocki, though, trying to manhandle up on the number 9 of Paul Buzel, trying to goozle the Buzel. And Buzel struggling to keep his internet connection underway, though. Unfortunately, the Butch Crawford Gremlins are trying to take his soul and take him with it. He's not giving out just yet, though. He won't give up that easily, that's for sure. Wally right now looking to get some momentum up on Matt Kopp here, looking for the inside corner. He's got the run, got the momentum, now strains it back. Kopp looks like he's going to have to try to cross it over, won't get the job there. And that's honestly a very good little scenario there to really see, was how difficult is it to actually turn these cars in when you're having to go side by side with somebody right there. Because obviously on road courses, side by side is really kind of out of the question. It's more or less you're trying to find areas to cross over, switch blade, switch back in, and you know, that's kind of road course racing in a nutshell. But we have seen plenty of times before on PTM Racing TV where you can go side by side for quite a while and it just turns into a heated battle, but those moments are not exactly the most fitting and they can be very rare when they happen. Really the main deal is just watching guys go around the track and trying to see who can outlast and outplay the other for the longest time here. Griswold getting ahead of Matt Kopp here earlier on through that final set of corners there, turn 11 and 10, turn 11 and 12, if you will. Through the carousel turn go, they base them on down, built speed, build the momentum up. Little problem down there for Wysocki, problem down there for Wally as well. Both guys opening the door up for everyone else to kind of sneak their way in around, trying to make some moves off here. Also, real quick, just breaking the broadcaster rule here for a minute. I want to extend a very happy birthday to my family member, my grandfather. I know he is watching right now here, and I am pleased to have him as my granddad. So, happy birthday, Grandpa, and I love you from the bottom of my heart. Hope you enjoy the show tonight. Now back to the normal broadcasting methods here. Let's keep an eye on the track, keep an eye on the circuit. Tim Schofield, problems down there entering through the bus stop. Exiting off bus stop here, the 12 of Schofield, troubles a little bit for him. Let's take a look at the PTM Instant Replay presented in part by SimSpeedShop.com. And you can see coming off that exit there, you saw the tires weren't quite gripped all the way to the track. Once that tire lifts up, by the way, it's pretty much like a dragster at that point. That's how hard they'll turn on you. A drag car obviously is meant to go straight. Well, when these cars, if that turns into a drag car, that's not a good sign. And unfortunately, Schofield with some damage up on that machine is going to have to try to work it in as best he can, as much as he can as well. He knows he is in trouble though. Damage very severe here. Facing around right now still. Field trying to find openings when they can, trying to find shots to take in the dark when they can get to it. And it's very difficult right now to really find and see who will take home position, who will take home the run here, as Brian McCann has taken the race lead over from the number 1 of Aaron Smith. Let's take a look at the PTM Instant Replay and see where that came about. I believe that might have came in the first corner down here in turn 1. Okay, right into that turn, you can see Aaron Smith lost it big time there. Had a great group and resettle himself in turn 1. Brian McCann just kind of sneaking his way on by him. Certainly had no troubles kind of stealing that one up from him and taking full advantage of this here so far. It's going to be interesting to see later on if he can keep that momentum going. But for now, anyway, he's putting Aaron Smith behind him and he's putting his demons behind him on these road courses. Both guys in a hot debate here, hot battle here, still positions-wise. They are not giving each other any room or any breathing opportunities. McCann started first, Smith started second. They're back in their place they were in earlier. This being Road Course Challenge Week 2, I think really that kind of makes things even more fun and a little bit more interesting, if you will, for the guys to have to kind of come out and see what they can do here at Watkins Glen International, and so far I think we're getting quite the show from these boys. This is a good onboard camera here. We're going to stay on board with Kevin McCann for a minute though. I just want to give you guys a little insight on this. Like, you watch how much steering is going into these cars. You watch also how much those rear ends kind of kick out from the car itself. Now granted, the rear end can actually kind of counter steer itself in a little bit, as long as it doesn't snap lock the turn there, as we've said before here on PTM Racing TV. You really have to watch your throttle rhythm though. With that 670 horsepower package, that speed and control is at a fever pitch and it's at a high torque level, making things much more difficult to kind of really strive and conquer with as you get later into the run. Now with Truck Series, obviously with that stuff, you can actually kind of be a little bit closer in with the drivers, and you're a little bit closer on the nose of them, and actually have to bump and push around a little bit to get around them if you have to. But here with these cars, really that's the last thing you want to do if at all possible. But they do take quite a bit of damage. They take quite a bit of fender and beating and banging. So still one of the all-time greatest moments here in NASCAR actually did come in the Cup Series division. That was back, I believe it was 07 it was, for Watkins Glen, where they had the car of tomorrow out on the track, and it was a fever pitch battle on the final lap with some oil spray down the track. Kyle Busch would spin out. Brad Keselowski would go to war with Marcos Ambrose, and it would be Ambrose that would take home the W that day after a pretty much extremely intense final lap, to say the least. And again, that's what they can count. They're driving these kind of hunk of junk metals here with over 2 tons of steel and mesh and speed they have to carry through, and they're beating, they're bumping, they're banging, and the tire go down on Keselowski. Just made for an impressive story, and really one of those races you just have to see to believe, as much as it is awesome to watch on our shows. Yeah, you can see right too, just kind of going through those corners. They're kind of gently coming off the exits. They did say earlier on they cannot go full throttle on those exits. They have to be a little bit more conservative, and they are doing that. But at the same time, I'm almost kind of questioning, you know, how long before these drivers start to get a little antsy, start to get a little impatient. The main thing is, we talk about it so often than not, which is you get a good start out of the gate, and then it's late in the run, things start to kind of dial back down, kind of pace yourself out and around, and next thing you know, you're just going full haymaker, full haywire on these drivers, trying to find any open areas or any open shots to really take out the other guy, and hoping that it'll work out in the end. And just like this right now, this is a good opportunity for a passing ordeal here in the number 12. Tim Schofield found a great shot down the straight on the front end in turn 1 on Pengrave. This is kind of what that road course racing style is. It's you're having to wait patiently, use the turns to kind of corner off and get closer to, but then when you get to a big turn that's like a 90-degree or almost a 45 angled end to kind of move your way into position, that's when you can make the pass and you have the right to go for the run. Road course racing is just such a different and untamable animal that only so many drivers can actually figure out how to claim it, how to beat it out. Actually, one of the first races I ever won in my career was actually on a road course. It was my second win ever in my life. It was at Road America in the NASCAR Truck Series, back on NASCAR Heat 4, and they still have the actual footage on our YouTube channel. You can go and watch. It wasn't me broadcasting it. I was actually racing for once. I think it's, but that was still one of my favorite moments of my life. No one popped away with that win after so many weeks and days of practice hours put on the track. It was nice to know something finally went our way that day. But you know, at the end of the day, man, that racing time is over and done with, and the iRacing N now has become our home and our sanctuary. And it's just crazy to see how far things have gone. Jeff Napier coming to a dead stop here, actually went through the bus stop penalty box area. But this is a smart move right here. You saw him as he did that. He knew he was in trouble, and as soon as he heard the guys were right behind him, he got out of the throttle, put the brakes on it, and let the leaders get ahead of him so they don't get their race ruined by him. Smart thinking and smart strategy, and good spotter work from him and his crew. $15 out of 50 completed so far here at Watkins Glen International, race fans. The time has only just settled in, but we're still hard racing out here on the show. Who's going to be the one that takes home victory lane? We'll find out when we return. Today's race, ladies and gentlemen, has been brought to you in part by our good friends over at Spartan Logistics Management LLC, by R&R Racewear, the official web store and merchandise line for iRacing and the IROC Challenge Series. Be sure to get yours today. By Loud Pedal Gaming TV, we're smashing the loud pedal for your viewing entertainment. By SimSpeedShop.com. By Track Time Entertainment. And by 5-Star Graphics. A very big thank you to all those that have helped bring out the sponsor and bring out the help for these drivers and the crew. We cannot thank you enough for your support. Back to the live action coverage right now here at Watkins Glen, New York's Watkins Glen International, as we are watching the battle rage on here with the number 94 Troy Radford trying to get up there with the number 2 Neil Quick. Neil Quick, remember, the runner-up in the actual regular season formats points then. He told me earlier today that he hasn't kind of really thought too much about that race season, that race battle he had with Brian McCann. Said the only thing that really bugs him today is that he's having to run on more of a road course than actually his normal oval style. So he said the only thing he had to adjust was some brake bias and some steering counterfeits, and that was about it. Other than that, he says he will race the same way he does, and that is with a foot full on the pedal and a hard charge and with nothing left to give. Random effort now being hunted down by Neil Quick in the number 2, but you can see as he comes off the final 2 corners here, he's actually got a little bit of that speed back, actually being sure to kind of hold him off a little bit here. Neil, though, is getting very strategic and very smart in those ends and those corners. It seems like this might boil down to the number 2 making a big move on the 83. If he can find that shot, find that little opening. Aaron Smith, Brian McCann still dealing with each other. Kevin McCann just kind of laying in wait, looking for his time to strike. And he has been one to strike when he feels like the time is there. Will he do it tonight, though? Remains to be unknown and a bit of an enigma to us. The 14 drivers have already been lapped up, though. Chris Wally. Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. Hold on. Aaron Smith. Way too far out. Avoids the sandbox. No. Doesn't quite avoid it. Wow, I lost a lot of speed there. Tire, I thought, might have been going down. Might have had a pit road, but no, that was not the case here. Looked like he overshot the corner there, and that was a bad braking zone, him from his crew. The good news for him is, though, he's still a good 23 seconds ahead of Brandon Medford. Well, that was a big, big mistake there. Couldn't really tell from that angle if he just overshot his corner, if he just overdrove it. So let's go on board with him here and see what exactly transpired in the number 1. He had such a great burst of speed coming up, and the momentum was going at the number 3, but something went wrong in the 1. Yeah, right there, man. You can see just way too aggressive. Got into the out of bounds area, into the sandpit region, and that number 1 unfortunately got put into a bit of a troublesome slot there. This right here is the way you're supposed to take that turn now, as you see him working it through off turn 11, then turn 12 there. So that's how you're supposed to take the turn, but I don't know. To me, it looked like he just overclocked it a little bit off the exits with the RPMs. Just about halfway done with this race here so far. The number 2, Neil Quick, and Brandon Medford up on the grill, up on the binders here, looking to try to take each other to the limit, take them to the wire here. Brandon Medford, though, you can see he's hanging on with all he's got on that 2. Neil Quick looking to make a straight line shot at him. That draft package, too, I gotta believe, helping out the aerodynamics of the car and the airflow coming off down the bottom end of those transducers down there. And the 2, seeing the number 83 getting a little bit more loose off those ends is definitely helping him out. You see that rear end just kick kind of side out on him, kind of making things a little bit more difficult. That is the scary part about trying to run that end, trying to run that part of the track down. And now Jeff Napier is going to make things even more difficult than they realize. Because now he is going to be slowing down the drivers for a brief floating moment there. Got out of the way just in time, but that definitely opened the door up here for Radford, Quick, and Medford to deal with each other a little bit closer together, a little bit more on pace on the nose. Radford trying to make a move off the corner end, turn down off turn number 11 into turn number 12, field them into positions, and down they go down this elongated front straightaway here. Beautiful crowd on hand here, beautiful facility as usual here to watch. Absolutely a mesmerizing place to see, which is Watkins Glen International. About halfway ready to finish off, and Medford still having Neil Quick right on his bumper here. Let's look up front right now as Brian McCann has a solid lead and a half over Brian McCann here. Let's take, Brian over Kevin. And taking a look at our lap times here, the data shows Kevin is a little bit on the slower end right now compared to Brian on the last lap that was. But before that, you can see he was getting a bit of a tenth, bit of a half a second, to then a tenth, to then a half a hundredth of a second. And caution flag will fly on out here to give these drivers some time to pace up and get fielded back into position. Stage brake has been put into effect. With a stage brake in effect though, and everything now being put on the driver's hands, which one can come out on top? Find out when we return. Well, tonight's race, ladies and gentlemen, here at Watkins Glen International Speedway has been brought to you in part by our good friends over at Spartan Logistics Management LLC, by R&R Racewear, the official merchandise and web store for iRacing merch and IROC Challenge Series merch, by Loud Pedal Gaming TV, smashing the loud pedal for your viewing entertainment, by SimSpeedShop.com, by Track Time Entertainment, and by 5-Star Graphics. Very big thank you again from the IROC Challenge Series, as well as from us here at PTM Racing TV for helping supporting the show and supporting the drivers out on the track. So first caution of the day here out of the gate so far. I'm going to leave the drivers alone for a brief fleeting moment here until they get caught up with the pack here. Again, they're having to race out to get up there with the leaders. They got to be careful about once they do catch them. I think we'll listen in to Chris Wally here in the number 5, have a listen with him and see how he's been feeling here, because he's been struggling in the back today. Car seems like it's been in a bit of a mess here, a bit of a runoff zone, so hopefully here in this stage he'll be able to kind of regroup and recenter off, but only time will tell in a minute. We're waiting for everybody to get up there to the pace car. And pace car going at a pretty good speed here, I would say, considering there's a lot of guys behind him still trying to catch up. And it looks like the field has finally started to kind of catch up, kind of clear in the zone. So it is time now, race fans, to listen in to the drivers and listen to their perspectives and see how they feel about this one so far out of the gate. As I mentioned before, we'll just start it off here real quick with Chris Wally here, as he is piloting it up in the number 5 today here. He joins me now here on PTM Racing TV on the chat here, and Wally right now at the moment having to come off that stage break here. The car was not as fast as some others, but it was not the dead last of the field. But how are you going to kind of come back here in the next stage to finish this one up?
Yeah, so says here I'm the lucky dog candidate. I thought the 66 would have got that, so that's a break. Big thing tonight is just keeping all 4 tires on the track and staying straight. You know, this is a tough track for a lot of us. Being in the playoff hunt, you just gotta, you know, stay in front of at least 4 other guys, and you'll be okay.
It will be okay indeed. And again, a lot of tough scenarios to have to deal with and encounter as well here on the show. I mean, really, what's in your mind anyway? What is going to be the biggest thing to watch out for in this next stage that you learned from this stage?
I think trying not to get in the throttle too quick. You know, being able to, again, like I said, keep all 4 tires on the track, staying straight, not getting too excited if an opportunity does come. I think that's where it hurts me a little bit when I try to get racy. I just start doing too much.
Sure there. All right. Well, nevertheless, while we do, we appreciate your time here, my friend. Best of luck as we get you back into the race.
Yeah, man. Thank you.
5 Chris Waller here, looking to try to maybe make a bit of a move up, maybe make a bit of a comeback here in this one. Another driver that would probably love to make a comeback and love to get back in the fight, of course, is the number 46, Chris Mefford. Mefford, earlier on, looked like things were getting pretty stable and pretty good for you there, but then things got a little bit wild. What happened down there? Is you got some damage on the car?
Just got tight on the left hand on the S, coming off. This car gets so light that I got tight. Barely touched the wall, but it gave me 40 seconds of optional repair. I'm not sure what's up with that. But the car's been pretty steady. I got a DQ in qualifying for spinning out, which is kind of a bummer. But trying to work my way back up here.
Work your way back up there, and of course now being able to be put back on the lead lap when you get back up ahead of these guys. I will just ask you this real quick here. The number 46 obviously has been having some good success in the oval style racing here, still looking for the win, but I will ask you this though, I mean, how does it feel right now on a road course end with this car compared to the ovals?
I don't like it. There's just no grip here. I'm not sure how these guys are really putting the pedal down and not spinning the tires. I think I'm barely even cracking the throttle and it really spins it. But they've done a lot more road racing than I have. I just kind of do it to enjoy it.
For sure there. All right, well, nevertheless, Chris, really appreciate your time here, sir.
Thank you.
Chris Mefford, ladies and gentlemen, number 46 driver, trying to maybe make some moves, make some runs off here as we're going to take it down now and have a listen in with some of our other guys here we have on the line here. Cody Harger being one of them here as he pilots up the number 66 here. Cody kind of stuck in the mix of the mid-pack and the mid-run here, and I know being a couple laps down probably hurts a little bit, but out of the gate here, I mean, playoffs-wise, how do you feel about this race kind of taking towards the points bet here?
Hey, sorry about that. We got some race communication going.
It's all good. Do you want us to repeat, or do you want to listen to them?
Yeah, let me get back because I was supposed to be the lucky dog and it didn't give it to me. So let me figure out what's going on.
Copy that. We'll get you out of here. All right. So it looks like trouble down there, unfortunately, for Cody Harger. So he's just going to go ahead and we'll leave him alone. As you heard, Chris Wally saying he got the lucky dog. He thought Cody Harger was supposed to be the one that got the lucky dog. So we'll see what happens, what the call is on that. Race officials trying to talk with them. We had no idea about that, so we do apologize there to the 66. We knew that Wally got it, but we thought that was it. That was the end of it. But when we return to green, it'll be halfway completed with this race, halfway done to the end, and a finish coming up. But now, remember this, Aaron Smith, he made the mistake twice in exits and the entries of the turns. Will he make the same mistake again, knowing that he's now going to have to start making some shots at that number 3 and the 33 to be exact too? Either way, the way you look at it right now, I would say point blank, this is going to be a bit of a battle off here. This is going to be just a mono-e-mono race-wise for the McCanns, and then maybe even more so if Smith and Mefford can make a way up at him. But Mefford seems like he's not gripping as much of the track and not really gripping as much around the place as he'd like to. But you did hear from him earlier. He said, I just want to have some fun out here. That's all I got to do. Well, to have fun, you gotta find a way to make fun, and Willie, he's gonna try to do that and then some here. Beal will bring him on around here, bring him back on town here, and everybody is looking for the gain, for the ground, the clearance here. Every single one of them is on a hot patrol, hot diggity dog kind of moment here. We'll see what happens as we get them rounded off in through turn number 11 and down to turn 12. And again, I am not a road course guy, so I may be completely butchering that and maybe butchering the numbers of the turns we have. So just be in mind of that. It's not quite my deal there. I apologize in advance, but here we go. Off of the final corner here, turn 12. Green flag back on out, and the 3 of Brian McCann leads the field in. Down across the edge here into turn number 1. And out of the gate, you can already see drivers being very, very antsy when it comes to hitting their marks and hitting their shots early. Single filing them up out of the gate here, running them down through the course, down through the turns. Tim Schofield and number 14 and Kyle Pengraff having a little bit of a fight off. Pengraff though into the wall. The 54 Cookwick able to avoid him and evade trouble. Swinging it right down on the back leg of the racetrack. Kevin McCann and Brian McCann separated out by a good margin of error here. Cookwick, he drove that thing in pretty deep for the bus stop. You saw him making a big hard charge for it. Wasn't to be had though. And now, that pressure on the number 5 of Chris Wally. You heard 6'6" Cody Harger earlier on say he should have been the lucky dog. He's not trying to figure out what happened there. At this point now, the only thing he knows is he just needs to start racing hard and really quickly if he wants any chance. And he might have a chance here. Kyle Pengraff, loose off the turn, avoids trouble, but lost all his speed. Now falls back into 13th here. The drivers that were a lap down are the only ones behind him. 25 still to go. Man, you gotta feel for them, and you gotta feel for some of these guys right now, just having to deal with the added pressure, the added momentum built up, and the problems that this track has given to them. It's gotta be very, very frustrating not knowing where the car is coming from or where the car is gonna feel at. I practiced a little bit of this race before we came into the race today, and yeah, what they said earlier about the feel, I totally agree with what was said there. It's the fuel you just cannot grip with, you cannot come to terms with, unfortunately. I always had a problem with the next gen fuel in anyway as it is, but I just feel like unless you got those motion simulators, you cannot feel all the way in the wheel how much the car is giving back at you, how much you'll be able to use up in full speed. It's just almost kind of a very light feeling, and that is certainly the case here. The 33 of Kevin McCann opening the door up here in the 1 of Aaron Smith. The same spot he struggled at earlier, and it gave Kevin the second place position. Now will take full control and full aim entering into turn number 1. Kevin gonna block though on the bottom, trying to keep Smith from taking it over. Nice move there by Kevin McCann here. Aaron Smith not able to make the workaround work and not able to take him back out in place. And you can just see how tough it is right now. Still, everybody trying to keep it close together. Some drivers maybe a little bit more often than not trying to be more than just closer together, and they're trying to make everything work down there. And unfortunately, one of them that's not going to make it work down there is going to be the number 40 of Jeff Napier. Man, Napier really got dealt a bad hand today, man. This 40 team came out here, looked looked like a solid team, kind of come out, try to put up a fight, and now at this point I think he's just thinking he's nothing but a filler on the track, and he's just being kind of a waste of space in his mind, especially with scenarios like this popping up, and that is one of the wildest things you'll see today. Literally, Napier had no chance of getting out of that mess. Whoa, a little trouble down there for Chris Wally as well, looks like. I was just about to bring us back to the live show here, but it looks like Wally had problems down here in the number 5. Got loose off the corner of the final turn, in turn 12, and ended up in pit road. And by the law of the race, he has to go down in there, and that is going to cost him precious time and momentum. What a tough break for the 5. He was doing so well up on the run here and trying to get back into this pace, back into this fight. Now he's got even more issues to worry about, which is basically just trying to get that speed back that he lost, and it's not easy to do on a track like Watkins Glen. Moving their way on around right now. Track starting to get a little bit more faded in, a little bit more fade off here from these guys. Drivers still looking for speed where they can get it and more momentum where they can. Back off on the 22 right now, moving up the chains, moving up through the ranks here, looking for some openings, looking for some shards. Can't quite seem to file them in though, really take full aim at it. Brandon Mefford, Troy Radford here, huge battle coming up here for the 4th slot. Radford got around Mefford earlier on in the start of this one. Mefford trying to get back at it, but you see as he came off the carousel, car tightened up pretty bad and got a little loose on him. Rear end just kind of kicked back, swung around, and he had nowhere to go. Now he's dealing with the added pressure that Radford is getting. He's trying to rotate and apex the track as much as he can, get the car to kind of corner off as much as he can get it to go. But it's just so darn difficult throughout the run of this race, throughout the momentum that you built up, to actually stay in that loud pedal position, that loud pedal runoff. Yeah, I did kind of go silent there for a minute, just to give you guys a little bit of a feel and an idea of how much throttle rhythm and control the drivers are actually facing here. Troy Radford giving us a great example of it. You heard kind of that slow pitched in little speed boost and speed take. Not once at any point did he just go full on send off. He was very, very careful and very superstitious about going too hard in there. And we talked earlier too about the fact you can't really go full throttle on all the tracks here with this car anymore, and now it's become more of a timing and position pace. Well, that's another one of those scenarios that popped up here. Little onboard camera action there from the 12 Schofield, just giving you a little bit more of a feeling in the back of the pack here, seeing what the drivers are facing up against and what everyone's looking for in this kind of ordeal, this kind of runoff. David E. Brown 7 right now, currently still in the championship hunt, in the playoff battle ahead of himself. He did tell me earlier today that the one thing he was very aware of but very scared of was how tricky things were going to get late into the series and late into the season. A lot of it, he said, really boiled down to one thing: staying out of trouble and staying out of the way of the faster guys and trying to take it on with the other guys until they get to the later half of the stage races and later half of the season. That's when he felt like he could start making some big moves and some big fights off. Ryan McCann right now was holding Kevin McCann back and Aaron Smith a while ago, but now with only 19 left to go, it looks like the McCann boys are now at a fever pitch odds with one another, and Aaron Smith knows he's got to start making some moves or this one's going to be dead in the water for him and his crew. He's got to watch that overshoot though. Remember earlier, he just overtook the turn of the entry and took everything for granted on where he was at and placed in a position. Steering it off pretty properly though, keeping himself out of trouble as he takes a little bit of a wall, takes a little bit of our camera with him into the wall. Full 18 laps remain. I feel like there are two areas you're going to see a lot of guys really build speed and get back around with and take full advantage of. First one's is turn 1 right there from that elongated front straightaway into that sharp angled 90-degree turn. That's where you see a lot of action, in my opinion, pop up and really grow on these guys. The other side, easily the back straightaway, the bus stop. This is where a lot of folks have put their corners together, and they've put a lot more than just a few fenders in with one another. But as you get off of that bus stop and carrying some speed through the carousel then kind of becomes more of a regroup strategy base where you can actually get your speeds back into the corner and set them up for the turn. As you come off that back straightaway, you have two options: overtake here or go into that turn inside or left and go for the big move. There is only one way to really solidify and make that charge, and these guys know it here. Bringing it back down around now. One more time by on that front straightaway here, and there's only 17 laps to go. Impressive still race run of display from the Spartan Logistics Management LLC iRacing IROC Challenge Series drivers, as nobody has been as tough to tame and tough to beat as that 3 has all day long. Only losing the race lead early in the race. That was really just due to maybe, in my opinion, a bit of an unfortunate start. Unfortunate in Brian's mind, but for any of us, it would have just been a normal start. Field starting to get squared up a little bit more on the nose, on the tail end of the field here. Everyone looking for positions where they can. And now it looks like lap traffic is going to be another factor here, as Chris Wally really having nowhere to go here and nowhere to get out of. Aaron Smith going way back in the field. He had to go into pit row to get a quick little change up on his end going into lap 34. That could open the door up here for some speed late in the run to kind of overtake Brian McCann and Kevin McCann, knowing that he's left alone. Whether or not that actually will end up going his way remains to be unknown and unseen. I don't know why he would go in so late though. Oh, I see why he did it now. He was looking at that lap. He was looking at that stage break. I was kind of questioning and concerning what he was up to, and next, like, I had my answer pretty much written in the stone. Caution is out, and that means a stage break has been put under the track. And that means 10 laps remain. That could get very, very interesting. When we come back from commercial end on out, we'll be commercial free from here. But which one of these drivers is going to bring home the win? We're about to find out in just a little bit. Ladies and gentlemen, today's race here at Watkins Glen International, Watkins Glen, New York, has been brought to you in part by Spartan Logistics Management LLC, by our friends over at R&R Racewear, the official web store and merchandise line for merchandise needs of iRacing and the IROC Challenge Series, by Loud Pedal Gaming TV, smashing the loud pedal for your viewing entertainment, by SimSpeedShop.com, by Track Time Entertainment, and by 5-Star Graphics. A very, very big thank you from all of us here at PTM Racing TV and from the IROC Challenge Series for your support. It is certainly greatly appreciated here every time we get you on the show. So now strategies are being put into effect. They're being put on high notice. Excuse going to be interesting to see really what comes up this and what comes up on the track. The field right now is going to have a little bit of a fever pitch battle ahead with only 10 to go. Everybody right now just kind of in a race against time, trying to get up there with the leaders, trying to get back into this field, back into this run here. The pace car is already on the back straightaway here, passing into the bus stop zone, so we'll let these guys get closer up in here and then we'll talk with them. But first off, let's talk with number 7 here as David E. Brown joins us now on the call list here. David, right now, you're in the top 5, and we've seen you here in this predicament before. How do you close the deal out now?
Boy, just gotta keep the rear end behind the front end out here. Yeah, feeling pretty good. You know, getting a little bit better as the race goes along. So hopefully I can keep that. If I can, you know, stay near the 14s, I think I can stay competitive.
Caution, pits are closed.
For sure there now. Qualifying 7th, obviously, that made things a little bit more interesting for you and the crew to have to work your way through the front, back of the tail end up to the front, and working with the guys in the middle kind of help give you an idea how to run better later?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it's really all about patience, right? And being really careful on these restarts going into one. And I think I was a little bit too careful last time. I got swarmed going into one, had guys on both sides. But I think I'll try and be a little bit harder on the brakes this next time.
For sure there. Well, nevertheless, best of luck to you and your crew as we see what happens from the rest of this one.
Thank you much.
Watch your speed.
Going into pit road right now, getting squared away. David Tremblay, also one of the guys to go in. David, how you doing tonight, buddy?
I'm doing okay.
Doing all right? Yep. What's up?
Wish I was doing better. Got myself into the wall, spun out a bit.
For sure. Well, we'll let you get into pit road real quick before we say anything.
Oh, just a little bit overshot.
Just a little overshot, but at least car is in there, so it's okay to good to go. So, all right, Dave, let's talk about this one real quick here, my friend. Right now, currently, you have been in the lead lap scenario all day long, top 10, battling it hard. I mean, I'll ask this: how difficult right now does the car feel to kind of hit up at the later end of the race stage when it comes to the tires burnt up and the car being a little damaged up right now?
I mean, I'd say from the start, it does not handle well at all. It just handles horribly from the get-go. I mean, it kind of gets better as you run, honestly, I feel.
It's better as it goes. Kind of an interesting little scenario there. But I'll ask this real quick, too. With the final 10 laps, I mean, how bad do you think these guys are going to get aggressive? Because it seems like when there's only 10 to go on any kind of track, much less a road course, things heat up times 11, don't they?
Oh, they sure do. And I'm definitely hoping they they get into each other a bit. Hopefully I can take advantage of something here.
For sure there. All right, well, nevertheless, as you get the car out of pit road, best of luck, and let's see what happens.
Thank you.
David Tremblay, ladies and gentlemen, here on the call list here, listening in, as our field right now is getting set to go back for the restart area. It really all boils down to one thing, and that is who is going to be the guy that takes full advantage and full charge on this one. Let's take a listen to in with Doug Wysocki here and the number 34 here. Doug, good to hear you back from you again and have you back on the show. I know you were definitely kind of one of the guys that had their eyes on to keep up in the track, keep up with the pace here, but in this case here, it looks like the car has had its fair share of faults and have fair share of troubles here. Can you elaborate with that?
It's not the car, it's me. I'm not a road racer, man, to be honest with you. The car is loose, but it's more me than anything. Those guys up front, man, you watch them, they're fast. They know how to drive it. I just am way behind on that.
Well, making that trip down from Michigan over here to New York, I got a feeling at least the travel wasn't too bad for you, though, at least, right?
Yeah, man, it was fun.
It's fun to see. All right, well, it's been fun to have you on back here again, Doug. Best of luck, and we'll see you next time out as well when the time comes, sir.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you guys doing an awesome job up there.
I appreciate the support, sir. Number 34, ladies and gentlemen, Doug Wysocki. Ready to get back at it here, ready to fire up some more speed, more momentum. The field is in double file restart zone, so we will let them be and let them go on out to finish this race out. On the restart, 11 laps remain. If you thought earlier on that some of these guys were getting pretty aggressive, I think you may need to change your tune a little bit. Aaron Smith making an extremely aggressive move there, waiting till a certain lap to go into pit road and hoping for the best here. Now looks to try and use that to his advantage, but again, he's got more laps burnt on the tires already and the fuel than the other guys. Especially with like Kevin McCann and Brian McCann, this is going to be a very difficult scenario and a very difficult little area to deal with. On down the back ends of the track, entering in turn 11 and 12. Race fans, this is going to be where the madness kicks off. This is going to be where the madness intensifies and increases, to say the least. Which one of these drivers is going to win this one? We're about to find out, because off of turn number 12 at the final end of the straight, now the green flag, restart, we wave them high, we fire them down. Somebody's coming away with the W at Watkins Glen. Heading into the first turn, and Kevin McCann making a big move off, getting out of the way of Brian while trying to make his move there, entering into that turn, trying to get something going on Eric Smith. Smith, though, able to escape. The first few laps, I will take a guess and say probably Smith is going to be the better of the two due to the fact that he doesn't have to worry about having to break into new tires. He can use what he had earlier and actually make a longer run of it. But again, you saw earlier when you go into that turn, end up getting troublesome. 3-wide saloon, and Brandon Medford gets sent out of the bus stop and sent out to the car. He's going to have to go for a wild ride off of the bus end in the entry. Whoa. Him and Tim Schofield there, they were 3 wide, I believe, entering into that turn. I don't even know where that came from, but here comes Neil Quick now, side by side. Off of Chris Bedford, number 46. Bedford trying to get a move off on the number 2 of Mr. Quick here. Neil trying to hold back Chris. Chris has had a bad break and a bad time today, but he's hanging in there still, and he's not done just yet with this race. Looking for some momentum and looking for some counter boosting off the ends. As the 3 of Brian McCann sees 10 laps remain, now he's looking to make a move. He's got, I'd say, about 5 laps to go. If he hasn't already by Smith's bumper, he'll be hammering down quicker than we know it. Trouble down there, though, in turn 1 for Cook Quick. 54 comes to a deadlock stop here, entering in. Let's take a look at the PTM replay, find out what happened exactly. And this is definitely an overshoot of braking and timing here. Did not see where Matt Kopp was. Kopp backed off, trying to give the 54, some time to breathe and give the car some time to move in. Didn't quite go his way though. Quick now right on the back bumper here. Brandon Medford. Medford moving back into the top 10, and David Tremblay with troubles here off the bus stop. Car came to a stop there. He had to serve a penalty. Penalty given up there for him. He had no choice but to serve it. But you gotta believe, though, not too thrilled about that ordeal in that circumstance. The McCann's trying to find a little bit of that extra leg up on Smith. Smith, though, has got the race lead by a good margin of error. David E. Brown right now looking to try and seal the deal and get a top 5 out of this one. He's come so far, so many times, so close, so many obstacles put in his wake. And now, for once, he feels like he has the opportunity to really strike it big and really take full aim at these guys. Leading into the turns here, the number 2 gets a big opening from the 7. David overshot the bus stop and entry and exit, and now Brown's going to have to try to find a way to cross the 2 over. If he can hold him down off the carousel and keep that inside run on the left side, You'll be able to make actually maybe a little bit of a runoff here coming into the exit. You have the first turn coming up. But unfortunately, Quick able to outshoot him. So did Chris Mefford. Now, David Brown falls back in place. And I may have given the broadcaster curse for his troubles. I apologize if that is the case. Neil Quick trying to hold on with Chris Mefford right on his door frame and on his door panel here, trying to make some moves. And the big moves coming up as well. You can see Brian McCann starting to close the gap off on the one of Aaron Smith. Smith is getting extremely aggressive here, trying to keep the car to grip onto this very tough terrain surface as they sneak it through the bus stop. So difficult is it just to hang on to a line there, much less trying to hang on to the car in any given take or form there. But they managed to do that and then some and really worked every ounce of it into the turn. Yeah, Quick. Well, look out. Big opening here for Chris Mefford. Quick went way too far wide after out turn 11, now turn 12. And Chris Mefford, beautiful pass on the left side. Now takes full advantage. Neil's going to have to try to stray horn it into turn 1 if he wants any chance here. Wasn't quite able to get that speed back underneath him, quite get the car running down on the track. Now, David Brown making a bit of a comeback here on the number 42, on the number 2 here of Quick. The 2 and the 7 back and forth one another. David right now in 7th and the 7. Maybe looking to try to make the lucky 3 of the set, the 3 7s, make him a lucky number here and get back at Kersey that gotten from me earlier and take down Quick. Tim Schofield though, pretty impressive display here from the number 12. All day long has had damage and struggles with that car, and yet somehow, some way, he still manages to maintain a top 10 performance and a top 10 runoff here. Very interesting to say the least. 6 laps left to go. Time evading off, and Neil Quick does the kiss of death, a kiss of fate to him and his crew. Overshot the turn. He's in the wall. He's in the tire barrier down there, and the water barrier down there has stuck him into the car. Car is stuck. He's gonna have to call it a day. Watch this. Right off the exit, you can see he's trying to hammer down, get back at Chris, and then this right here, the coup de grace, if you will. And we see he is stuck in there. That car was not coming out. What a heartbreaking mishap and issue there for Neil. You could just see in his eyes he did not want that to happen. Now the playoffs just got a little bit harder to deal with. Kyle Pengraff moving up into the top 10 now thanks to that little issue there. But still way behind pace, way behind the field as most of these guys are in this case here. The only ones that have been on pace all day long when it comes for the race lead has been Aaron Smith, Brian McCann, and Kevin McCann. Kevin really kind of faltered back more than anybody here compared to Brian or Aaron Smith. And yet here he is still trying to make some move off, make some runs here down on the corner ends, the final ends of these turns. Aaron Smith sneaking his way through the bus stop here. Brian McCann coming right hard down on the edges, down on the plates. Every single one of these drivers is giving it their heart, giving it their soul. Pengraff making a nice little pass around Doug Wysocki here, and even though Doug says some of the craziest things on this show, I at least can say that he has got a good heart and a good mindset for the racing business as well as for his racing career. Medford moving into 8th. Remember earlier, he actually got kind of clipped and tailed, whipped off. Was in the top 5 bracket. Then he got snake skinned back into the 8th slot. Or excuse me, in the 10th, 11th. Then got into 8th after everyone else kind of either made some mistakes or gave him some openings to work off of. Now just trying to finish this race out and put this one in the rear view mirror, as much as the number 2 of Neil Quick is being put in his rear view mirror. Tim Schofield and David E. Brown right now looking to maybe make a little bit of a run at each other here. Schofield trying to get a little bit closer on that number 7 of Brown, looking for an opening to strike big with. With only about 3 laps to go, the next time by, the leaders go ahead. This could be anybody's guess who is the one that outplays and outsmarts the field. Into the next section of turns here, down that back edge. You can see Smith, he's getting very, very tight and very hard on the throttle. Just trying to stay in clear of it. You can see though, just one wrong turn, it's all it's going to take. It's going to cost him dearly, and McCann knows this. That's why he's just trying to stay in his head, trying to push the agenda into his mindset here. Smith can't hold on. He may be able to take down the number 3. And it really would be based on his pit strategy you saw earlier, basically going in right before caution came out. He didn't go a lap down. He was so far ahead of the field that he actually had time to do it. McCann, I'm kind of surprised, didn't try to go leewaying towards that end. But again, at the same time, don't blame him for really what he was up to. His strategy was point blank soundly. I'm just going to try to get as much of my tires burnt in later in the run and later on the edge. He's doing that and then some right now. He's got a fresh set of tires and he's faster than Smith, but Smith is extremely clever when it comes to how he's running the track. He's giving him a bit of a block and a bit of a nudge off the train. Here we go now, this time by, we're going to get the green flag, high in the air. McCann looking for an opening, looking for a chance to try to knock down Smith. He knows he is in a very win or loss, win or lose situation. Which one gets the advantage? Down the front straight away they go. They'll shoot him straight in through the turn here. Turn number 1 will be the sanctuary for these two to battle hard at. Smith gets a good run off. McCann can't quite find it. Oh, look at this. Schofield moving a big move off on David E. Brown as well down at turn number 12. And the 12, Schofield looking to take full aim at Brown, but Brown was not able to give him the pass. Looking to straight shoot it down the first turn. This is where trouble began earlier. This is where trouble could begin again. Schofield, though, able to hold it much better here. Brown holding a good line, but they are dead even off the edges. Look at this side-by-side battle here for that position. Battle for 7th, and it's battle for 6th here. 6th and 7th going at it. And Brown, straight horn, straight shot off. They couldn't quite keep it around, couldn't quite keep the speed in play. But race fans, now this is the time, this is the place. McCann has one more lap to take the shot at Smith. Will Aaron Smith give him the opening? Will he give him a chance? He's about to find out. White flag high in the air. This time by, they'll come to the whites. McCann has only a couple turns. He can really hit it hard at Smith. Smith, though, has outplayed and outsmarted McCann. Brian needs to keep his mentality stable, his run slow. He's got to stay focused. Somebody will get the advantage here one way or another. Schofield is going to hold back Brown just a little bit longer here. The battle is for your race win. Which one's it going to be? Down on the final turns here, entering into the final corners. Smith, McCann, they're both deadlocked, dead even with one another, trying to see who can get the better of the other. Brian trying to get a good run off from the carousel. He can't seem to find that speed. Smith got a great jump off the carousel turn. Now he just needs to hit the turn he struggled at earlier, turn 11. Nice, edged off, nicely done. One more boost of speed. Here comes turn 12, final turn, final corner. Brian McCann gonna try to hunt him down, but it's not to be avail. No avail for the number 3. Aaron Smith will take down Brian McCann. Kevin McCann goes third. Troy Radford will bring it around town for a 4th place finish. 5th will go to Chris Medford. An impressive comeback for the number 46. He goes 10 spots up to round out his day. Tim Schofield and David E. Brown putting up a great final showcase there in the final laps. What a race by everybody involved. And just shows you the IROC Challenge Series is truly here to play, and they will not give up for anything. But there he is, race fans, coming around town onto the bus stop. The number 1, Aaron Smith. He's number 1 again. The reigning defending champion is out to claim the crown for a 2nd time. Only maybe the 1st driver ever to do it. He's certainly making it very, very interesting right now on himself, as well as these drivers he continues to fight out with constantly on the track. Well, while he gets it around town and around on the track ends here, let's take a look at our final results here. Aaron Smith comes away with a win. 2nd to Brian McCann, 3rd to Kevin McCann. Troy Radford goes 4th, 5th to Chris Medford. 6th going to Tim Schofield with 7 to David E. Brown. 9th going to, 8th to Brandon Medford. 9th then to David Trumbulley. 10th will go to Kyle Pengraff. 11th to Cook Quick. 12th to Chris Wally. 13th to Neil Quick. 14th to Cody Harger. 15th to Kawasaki. 16th to Matt Kopp. 17th to Jeff Napier. And Paul Buzel goes 18th. That rounds out the field today. A long process race. But when we got to the good stuff, Time to talk with your top 3 drivers. And we're going to shoehorn them in, bring them right around on in. And now here is our first of the 3, the 3rd place finisher in the 33. Kevin McCann coming away with a solid points day, but another hard racing ordeal. You pretty much were right up there with family member Brian all day long, but Smith and them pretty much were at each other's game plan all day until you got into that final stage. Then it seemed like game plans went out the window. It was just full throttle Sultan, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was a good night for all 3 of us. I think it was anybody's race there at the end. I was having difficult time with cold tires, new tires, getting them to switch on. Seemed like I could pick up the pace around lap 4 or 5, whereas both Aaron and Brian they had a lot more pace on the cold tires than I did. And I knew that was going to be a factor in the last stage there. That's probably why Aaron and myself short pitted, gave up stage 2 to try to, get the track position and, get some heat in those tires before we went green again. But all in all, it was fun. These cars are a handful on road courses. It's probably the hardest I've had to drive in a while. But yeah, it was a good race.
Certainly seems to be the case here indeed. And with now the playoffs starting to close up and the gap starting to get very more difficult, as a driver's perspective here, what do you think is going through these guys' minds here as they get ready for the battles that rage ahead here?
I think the most important thing is to just obviously make it to the final round there, and then rack up as many bonus points as you can. And then I guess, it's anybody's game in the, once we get to the final 4. But I think we should start to see there's some good tracks coming up. I think, there, especially like Richmond, I think we're going to see some good racing there, and you may see some guys get a little more aggressive, once they're on that bubble of getting knocked out. So it'll be fun to see.
For sure there. Well, nevertheless, though, everything is starting to come full circle for you and your crew, and another great day here for you and the team. So congratulations on that. Who do you want to thank here for this one today?
Yeah, I think Chris Wally and all the sponsors that put the show on, and all the guys that come out and race clean every day or every week. It's fun to run, and you guys do the broadcast.
For sure there. All right. Well, nevertheless here, Kevin, congratulations on this 3rd place finish, and it's good to see you back in another podium position.
Yep, thanks.
Ladies and gentlemen, Kevin McCann here coming away here with the third place finish today. But now as we listen in here with Brian McCann here as he pilots it up in the number 3 to second place today. Brian, congratulations on that second place finish here, sir. And boy howdy, what a long race this one endured for you. And you really were the guy that were going to try to play out the strategy all the way to the end. But it looked like Aaron just kind of had a few times where he could outsmart you and kind of outpace you there at the final ends, didn't he?
Yeah, it was probably one of the toughest. I know I say it every time, one of the toughest tracks. But really, if you can imagine trying to thread a needle through, thread a piece of whatever through a needle 100 times every lap and get it perfect. That's what driving this car around this track is like. So it really came down to whoever could hit the lap perfect. And there. I messed up a few times. Aaron messed up a few times, but he at the end of the day he beat me at the end.
Certainly, it was a long, obviously, like you said, a long fight from the get-go, long battle from the ends here. And I'll ask this too, my friend, man. You had a lot going for you and your team here. Obviously, it could have gone either way in the long-term aspect of it. But as a driver now, knowing that you and Aaron Smith are literally in a dead heated fight for that championship. Does a race like the Ovals now kind of point back to this race here, maybe for what you guys dealt with here out at Watkins Glen?
Yeah, I mean, ovals, me and Aaron kind of around each other, just like we were here. Aaron's a fast driver. Kevin's right there with us too, and it's gonna be tough. We're all really close in speed.
Really close to speed, really close to the end of it all as well. So right now, though, we are going to see you come away today with a second place finish. So congratulations on that. And with that in mind, who do you want to thank you for that, sir?
Thank you. Thank my wife, family, everybody watching tonight, sponsors, Wally, everybody who helps them put on this show. You guys for doing the broadcast. Thank you.
Absolutely. We appreciate your time. Congratulations, Brian. Comes away second place here today, race fans. Brian McCann here, pilots up to 3 once more into another deadlock position. But out of it all, the champion will be here as Aaron Smith, the reigning defending champion, brings home another one. And Smith, congratulations on that. And if I am not mistaken, this is your first win in the playoffs format so far. I gotta believe this one either way. If it's not or if it is, this one's gotta mean a lot though for you and the crew.
Yeah, I got the first one in New Hampshire, but this one certainly helps too. I mean, the mechanics kept me honest there the whole race. I was afraid I was going to finish third the whole time after that first run, but fortunately, we were able to make a pit stop before the last stage caution and started first and kept it there.
Started first, kept it in, and you really had a lot of ordeals here, and a few spots in there where could have gone either way with you and the drivers in the track, but you certainly still held on, held tight, and kept everything in play. But now with this in mind, though, you've got a championship still defending on the line. Does this kind of help add to the confidence and boost yourself up to finally start making some big-time opportunities and ordeals here?
Absolutely. If anything, I'm probably going to keep it cool in these next couple weeks. I don't know how much longer we have until the finale, but I feel like I'll have a pretty good case for it. But looking forward to seeing how it all goes.
Absolutely. All right. Well, Smith, with this race win now, first off, congratulations on that. And really, who do you want to thank you for all this today?
I'd like to thank all the folks at the Satellite Racing team for their support, and all the folks at the IROC Challenge for putting the show on, y'all for broadcasting, and all the folks for watching. Looking forward to getting back at it wherever we are next week.
I believe next week, I've read it right, you will be, I just said it on the broadcast earlier, and I've already forgotten. Okay. Oh, that's right, Richmond. That's where you guys are next.
Well, it should be fun.
All right. Well, we'll see you then, though, Aaron. Congratulations on this win today, man.
All right. Thank you.
Aaron Smith, ladies and gentlemen, the number 1, your winner today. And a big thank you again to our friends over at Spartan Logistics Management LLC, R&R Racewear, Lapel Gaming TV, SimSpeedShop.com, Track Time Entertainment, and of course 5-Star Graphics for everything. A big thank you to fans out there for tuning on in. Thank you so much for the show. Thanks for coming on for the support. We'll talk to you guys later and see you next time down at Richmond Raceway for these drivers. But there is plenty more action to come in this week. Stay tuned with us.